Right now it's June 2025 and summer is here. And new Acuvue Oasys MAX brand contact lenses are hitting the market. It's the Acuvue Oasys MAX for Astigmatism and the Acuvue Oasys MAX Multifocal for Astigmatism. Within these brands, I think Acuvue is doing something that is revolutionary, that I think other contact lens companies are going to mimic in the future. Okay, so if you want to find out what makes these contact lenses so special, stick around. Welcome to Your Eye Show. I'm your host, optometrist Dr. Ed Wallington, and owner of DeliverContacts.com. The Acuvue Oasys MAX for Astigmatism is expected to release on July 21st of 2025, and it will be coming in both 30 packs and in 90 packs. The Acuvue Oasys MAX Multifocal for Astigmatism is expected to release on June 30th of 2025, but it's only going to be available at first in 30 packs. The 90 packs will probably come just like other brands did. And I say other brands because the Oasys MAX family of contact lenses, the Sphere and the Oasys Multifocal, have already been out since 2022. All right, so we actually already know how these contact lenses are going to work as far as how comfortable these contact lenses are. And we already know about the different things that makes this contact lens special, including the fit. Okay, so there's something that stabilizes the astigmatism contact lenses called the blink stabilized design, and the multifocal design, the pupil optimized design, have proven themselves in other Acuvue Oasys brands. So even though these contact lenses have been tried, we kind of already know that they're going to be very special. Okay, they pretty much have the best of everything built into them. All right, if you want to see the other videos on the Oasys MAX and the Oasys MAX Multifocal, check out the description, and I should have links to those videos if you want to get a more thorough discussion on those. Okay, so let's go back to what makes the contact lenses in the MAX family so special. One, they have a silicone hydrogel material called Silicon A that makes these contact lenses very breathable. Okay, now a lot of the newest contact lenses that are out there from all different companies are made using silicone hydrogel material. Why? Because we know how good it is, and so that really doesn't set it apart from other brands, because other companies are using the silicone hydrogel. But it needs to be said that hey, the MAX does give you your max breathability in your contact lens. Two, the contact lenses have something called tear stable technology. The tear stable technology keep these contact lenses super comfortable. Okay, so everybody comes out and says, oh yeah, this is great for the tears, and we're giving this kind of comfort, and we're releasing this and so much water. Well, the proof is in the pudding, right? Okay, so the tear stable technology has proven itself. I find it to be one of the most comfortable contact lenses out there for my patients. If the MAX doesn't work on my patients, then perhaps nothing will. Okay, so tear stable technology, huge, great. And the other thing that's built into the MAX family is something called the OptiBlue light filter. So the OptiBlue light filter, first of all, it's a class 1 UV protector. It has like 99.9% blockage of UVA and 100% blockage of UVB. But it also has 60% high energy visible light blocking. All right, so that's like the most on the market. Okay, you want to try to get that in glasses, in your glasses, that much blocking of blue light. Well, then your glasses are going to be like extremely yellow. It'll be looking like you're looking through like a contrast tint with yellow lenses on. All right, but in the contact lenses, is that the OptiBlue light filter makes the contact lens just look a little bit green. Okay, it's not real noticeable. But I will touch on that real quick. So the OptiBlue light filter, it kind of gives a handling tint, like a green handling tint to these contact lenses, and it does block the blue end of the spectrum. And these kind of came out when that whole blocking blue light was really big around towards the end of COVID, where people were staying home and spending a lot of time on the computers, and they had this scare out saying that, oh, blue light is going to harm your eyes. Okay, honestly, that's a bunch of garbage. Right now, it's not proven that blue light that we see is harmful to the eye. Our body is designed to see it, okay, and to make the reach and say that that's what's causing eye strain. Nah, the reason people's eyes strain when they're working on a computer is because we have muscles that are required to focus. Okay, we spend time on a computer, the muscles work, lens changes, our eye gets tired. Okay, our eyes aren't tired from seeing what they're supposed to see. But I mean, some people are sensitive to blue light. Okay, so those people that sit in front of the computer and they like that tint, okay, just like if you like a light tint when you're sitting out, you know, like sunglasses when you're outside, if it makes you comfortable, great. Okay, I'm not opposed to people getting the, you know, a blue blocker when they're working on a computer if it makes them comfortable. Okay, but don't get it because you think it's going to protect you from anything that's harmful. All right, the UV part, the class 1 UV protectant, the 99.9 and the 100% for the UVA and B, now that's great. That's huge. Okay, and I think Acuvue has put UV blocker in all their contact lenses, which is wonderful. But the blue blocker, it does give a softening effect that a lot of people appreciate sitting in front of the computer. You know, I have also noticed though that some people don't like that effect. Okay, so every once in a while people don't like that their color spectrum has been altered and their brain is sensitive to it. Okay, and you know, the only way to really decide whether you love it or you hate it, the alteration in the color, is to check them out. Okay, most people don't even pick up on it. You know, that there is a slight alteration, because once they're on, the world seems normal. But some people I have found are sensitive to that. All right, people that will definitely benefit it are people who find that their migraine headaches are associated with that high energy visible blue. Okay, so if your trigger to your migraines is that blue light, then absolutely, hey, this is, like I said, it's one of the best things on the market that you can possibly get. And for people that like to work on their computers right up to bedtime sooner, okay, you're not supposed to look at blue light within like an hour of bedtime. Okay, so I actually think you should take your contact lenses out about an hour before you go to bed too. But if you're the kind of person who's going to wear your contacts and you're going to work on your computer right up till bedtime, these are great contact lenses for you as well. All right, but what actually sets these new Acuvue Oasys for astigmatism contact lenses apart is, hey, it has a torque design. Okay, a torque design means it has two different curves to the contact lens, which means it corrects two different meridians. I'll explain to you a little bit more about astigmatism here in a second. And Acuvue is no stranger to correcting astigmatism. Like I said, they have something that's already been out there and well proven called the blink stabilized design. It's in the Acuvue Oasys 1 day for astigmatism, the moist 1 day for astigmatism, and the Acuvue Oasys 2 week for astigmatism. All right, the blink stabilized design holds the contact lens right where it's supposed to, so you can see your best. I want to explain what astigmatism is, but before I get to that, let me explain what it's not. Okay, astigmatism does not mean that it's not starbursts. Okay, it's not the starbursts that you see around headlights. Starbursts are quite natural most of the time. Now, when you have astigmatism, it'll stretch out the starburst a certain way so that it's amplified. But really, we don't have anybody else's eyes to compare with, so we can't really tell whether our starbursts are astigmatism or not. But if you get starbursts and you're kind of wondering if it is astigmatism, yeah, I mean, go get your eyes checked and let your doctor help you out on that. Another thing that astigmatism is not, it doesn't mean that your eye is football shaped, okay? For the most part, our eyes are spherical, all right? The reason that we use the term football shaped, or you may hear your doctor saying football shaped, is because they're trying to express that the shape of the cornea may have two different curves. Okay, matter of fact, that's where we get the word toric from. That toric contact lenses that correct for astigmatism, they have two different curves. All right, but we're talking about the cornea. It's very imperceptible. Now, the analogy of a football kind of is a dramatic, exaggeration of the effect of these two different curves, because a football in this direction is really flat and really round in this direction. You're not going to look at an eye and go, oh, look at that cornea, it looks like a football. All right, but I mean, you get the idea. It's just an analogy to help doctors express that the reason that you have 2 points of one point is stretched between 2 points in the back of the eye is because of this irregularly shaped cornea. Okay. So let me get into what astigmatism is, and let me explain how it works for you. Light's supposed to focus at a point in the back of the eye called the fovea, just like this. All right, if light focuses there, you see great. If light focuses in front of the fovea, we call it myopia or nearsightedness. If light focuses behind the fovea, we call it hyperopia or farsightedness. If light is stretched between, if instead of being stretched at one point, is stretched between 2 points, okay, I call them bookends of focus, so I reference it as 2 points, but it's actually just 1 point stretched. If light focuses at 2 points, we call that astigmatism. The further apart the points are, the more astigmatism that you have, okay? So if you have 2 points of focus, let's say one point is here. If we move a point backwards, we say we have to move it in a minus direction. So if this point is, let's say, 2 millimeters away from the back of the eye, we don't measure light in millimeters, we measure diopters. So if it's 2 diopters away from the back of the eye, we call that -2. So this point needs to move back -2 diopters. All right. Now this other point, or this other end of the point, is at -3.5. Okay. So we have to move this other point back -3.5 to bring both points back. Okay. We have to correct the astigmatism, 2 points. When we write up this glasses prescription to move these 2 points back, this -2 and this -350, we would designate this first point, -2, and we would say -2 is the sphere power, okay? And then we would say, we wouldn't tell you the second point, we would measure the gap. Now the gap is 1.5, okay? So we would say -2 minus 1.5. The -1.5 is the amount of astigmatism. We call that the cylinder power, all right? But a doctor likes to look at it and go, okay, you have 1.5 diopters of astigmatism right off the bat, okay? Otherwise, they have to do the math. 2 and 3.5, and 3.5 minus 2 is 1.5. You have 1.5 diopters. So instead of doing that, we just say -2 minus 1.5, and then the axis tells us how to line it up in your glasses, okay? So if we put these lenses in, if we put this into a pair of glasses, we would say -2 at 180, okay? There's that 180. And -350 is perpendicular to that. All right, so but when we put them in glasses, we can lock that right into place. It's not going anywhere. Well, what about with contact lenses? We want that -2 in this direction, minus that 350 in this direction. All right, but in contact lenses, by the way, we would actually give you a -2 minus 125. Why not a 150? Well, because 150 is not available. In contact lenses, you're only going to have, they only come in half diopter steps, okay? So in other words, you might only have a -0.75 astigmatism, a -125 astigmatism, and a -175 astigmatism, and sometimes -225, but half diopters. So the doctor will tend to pick what amount of astigmatism that is best for you. And usually it's the lower one, it's not the higher one. They usually go the lower one, so instead of 150, they give you the 125. So in a contact lens, they give you -2 minus 125, axis 180. All right, and they put that onto the eye. All right, well, in a contact lens on the eye, a contact can rotate, right? Okay, a contact, we can't screw it down to your eye. All right, so we have to somehow get that contact to lock onto your eye. So to do that, we have to have a special design of the contact lens. The contact lens has to hold onto the eye a certain way. With the blink stabilized design, what Acuvue has done is they thinned out the top and bottom of the contact lens. Okay, and they have these little markings on it too. And the markings go vertically, one at the top, one at the bottom. Now, the contact lens can flip upside down, and it's still the same power. Okay, matter of fact, because it's thinned out at the top and the bottom in the blink stabilized design, it doesn't matter whether you put the contact lens in this way or this way. Okay, it's going to be the same power either way. Okay, now this is different than other brands of contact lenses. Other companies out there have different designs, okay, and those other designs are called Prism Ballast. And when you have a Prism Ballast design, the lens is thicker at the bottom. All right, other contact lenses will tend to be thicker at the bottom and are weighted. You've heard of the weighted for astigmatism. So gravity kind of pulls these contact lenses downward. Okay, so there is a down and there is an up. You have to put it in a certain way, and those contact lenses tend to have a line that tells you where the bottom of that contact lens is. Okay, now the problem with this, with Prism Ballast contact lenses, not only because of gravity. Okay, if you have a Prism Ballast contact lens and you turn your head to the side, well, whoop, the contact lens might spin with it with gravity, right? Okay, well, with the blink stabilized design, it's thinner at the top and bottom, so you can turn your head to the side. It doesn't matter. It's tucking underneath your lid. It's going to remain stable. Again, another problem with the Prism Ballast. Prism. What does Prism do? Prism moves light, right? Okay, so if you have a thicker contact lens at the bottom and it's thinner at the top, then it has a prismatic effect. It's a very mild, but it's a prismatic effect that moves the image upward. All right. Well, what if you have a contact lens in this eye that has astigmatism and a contact lens over here that does not have astigmatism? Then you got this eye has to look up a little bit, and why this eye looks straight. Okay. For people that don't have the same don't have astigmatism in both eyes, okay, which is like half the people out there, they can get this. If they may not get double, but it's something else that the brain has to work against. It can be very bothersome to the brain. Okay, you might get headaches, you might get eye strain, you might even get double vision from it. Okay, so sometimes you just can't put a finger on what it is, but it's this offset of the images that the brain has to account for when you're wearing contacts that are Prism Ballast. Okay, again, why I really like this blink stabilized design, which is what is in this new Acuvue Oasys MAX for astigmatism, and it's also in the Acuvue Oasys MAX Multifocal for astigmatism. What the MAX for astigmatism though has done is they actually have so different contact lenses have different powers. I told you -75, -125, -175, and -225. Those different parameters have different designs for them. Okay, so Acuvue has fine-tuned the blink stabilized design and put in cylinder optimized blink stabilized design. Okay, so for the different amounts of astigmatism, okay, they fine-tune how that contact lens tucks underneath the lid, because the different powers will fit a little differently. Apparently they found. Now I was happy with the blink stabilized design the way it was, but apparently they found a way to customize it for the different powers so that they fit more perfectly on the eye. Great. So in the Max Multifocal for astigmatism, Acuvue has also implemented the Pupil optimized design, which they have in the Max Multifocal. And again, we went over that pretty thoroughly in the Max Multifocal video if you want to kind of see that full discussion. But what that is that for every power of bifocal, so different when you need a multifocal, you can't see far and near at the same time. So if we give you contacts that are just for far, you can't see near. We give you contacts just for near, you can't see far. Okay, but the multifocal gives you a little bit of both. Okay, it's not perfect for both, but it's a little bit of both. And what we found is that you can't just give one size pupil diameter optic zone for far and near to all different powers, because different people with different powers have different size pupils. Okay, so Acuvue has gone in and has 183 different designs for all the different powers for their multifocal. Okay, most contact lenses only have 3 versus 183. Okay, that's a pretty vast difference, quite customized in comparison. All right, but what I wanted to get at for you that I thought made the Acuvue brand so different, so new, so revolutionary and compared to other brands is Acuvue's only put 1 cylinder per power in their multifocal. 1, okay, a -1. Why do I think that's a great idea? I think it's a great idea because, well, when you have astigmatism, generally you don't have a lot, and we don't have to correct all of it. Okay, if you have a certain amount of astigmatism, like a -0.75, -1 will work. Okay, if you have a -125, -1 will work. Okay, one's better than, one's really close to both those. If you have a 175, a -1 still works. Quite often when somebody has a lot of astigmatism, I give less anyway. Okay, why? Because if the contact spins, I don't want those 2 different powers interfering with each other. All right, so I always try to go a little lower so that, so when if the contact spins, they still get a beneficial effect and not a distortion type effect. All right, so by going and put a -1 in, hey, it's good for the lower powers, and it's better than nothing for the higher powers, but it's still better than it used to be. Okay, and it also makes it so that you don't have to have so many different powers of contact lenses that are out there. Okay, I'll put the math up here, but as you can see, is that if you have less cylinder power, if you have cylinder powers that you have to account for, axes that you got to account for, and then add powers that you account for, you have to have thousands and thousands of different contact lenses to cover all these different parameters. Okay, and then if we have different box sizes, that even adds to even more. Okay, and Acuvue is probably going to come out with more, probably the 90 pack for the Max Multifocal for astigmatism down the road. That's already going to add a lot. Okay, but in order to meet customer needs quicker, okay, and I think give a contact lens that makes sense in a -1, I think other companies are going to follow suit. Okay, so that not so many contact lenses need to be made. Now, I don't think that it's going to this isn't going to be a bad thing for the patient. Okay, because it's going to simplify the fitting process. I think is awesome. I think it's brilliant. I think it's something that they should have done a long time ago. So I think some of my colleagues are a bit concerned about it, because I mean, it makes sense that you want to give everybody their perfect contact lens, but I really don't think that there's a lot of sacrifice here by having a one single power at the -1 cylinder. Again, I think it's brilliant. I think we're going to see a lot more companies doing it down the road. Okay, so now I want to do what I always do in these videos and go over the parameters. I don't have them all memorized, so let me just kind of read off my computer here as we go. The Acuvue Oasys MAX for Astigmatism, the 1-day parameter, it's a 1-day contact lens. You throw it out every day. Base curve, one base curve, 8.5, diameter 14.3, has the blue-green. It has the very breathable Silicon A silicone hydrogel material. Water content 38%. Don't worry about the 38% not being as high as some of the other brands. It really comes down to how moist the contact lens is on the eye, and the 38% in this design is great. The oxygen transmissibility, 129. Okay, I always say 100 is a sign of a very breathable contact lens. This has a DK value of 129. That's super breathable contact lens. Center thickness 0.08 millimeters. We talked about the UV blocking, 99.9% UVA and 100% UVB. Okay, remember that only covers the part that the contact covers, so you should still wear sunglasses when you wear these contact lenses. It does not substitute, for good UV protection over all parts of your eye. Vertical alignment marks in box sizes 30 and 90 packs. Again, this is the Max for Astigmatism. This is not the Max Multifocal for Astigmatism, which only has 30 packs right now. Okay, might in the future. Again, remember this is June 2025. I expect that the 90 packs will come out. Sphere power ranges anywhere from really a -9 to a +4, but over the power of -6, it comes in half diopter steps, not quarter diopter steps. All right, that's most people. That's most powers. The cylinder powers, you see that it has every 10 degrees when at the -75, -125, and -175, because that's where the majority of people have their cylinder powers, at the lower numbers. Okay, it does account for some people at -225, and Acuvue, the Max for Astigmatism may eventually come out with the full range of parameter at the -225 like they did in the past, but for now they only have it at what's listed here, the 10, 20, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 160, 170, 180. And then they also have that limited range of axes availability over -650 as well. Only in the -75, 125, and 175. All right, so the parameters for the Max Multifocal for Astigmatism 1-day. Again, base curve power is 8.5, the diameter 14.3, visibility tint, Silicon A, 3. Okay, notice all this stuff is about the same. Okay, 129.8, UV blocking, vertical climb, all the same, except it comes in 30 packs, not 30 and 90 packs for now. Lots of range of availability in quarter diopter steps, all the way from -9 to +6. All right, and 3 power availabilities. Low, which is what you're going to give between, if a person has an add of +75, +1, +125, or even 150. Okay, mid add will be 150, 175, or 2, where the high add is generally higher than that. Honestly, I give the majority of my patients that I give these multifocal contact lenses to are the people that have a low or a mid add. I stay away from the high unless somebody comes in and says, I want more near. Okay, the reason that we tend to stay away from the full high add is sometimes when you throw that higher add in, it can distort the far more. Okay, there's a bit of a compromise when you go to a multifocal contact lens. All right, the distance and near are shared. Okay, so you might go, I got a 225 add. Why aren't you giving me the high, doc? Okay, well, doc understands the compromise in probably they're having more success at the medium power as well. But if you're like, gosh, I really want that, I really want more near, you know, can you give me more? Realize there might be a little bit of a sacrifice that far away isn't going to be as crisp. Okay, so multifocal contact lenses quite often require a compromise on your part. Okay, and the cylinder power, like I said, -1 availability only. You don't get options. Okay, the doc isn't even going to have to delineate that. They're just going to have to say low, mid, or high, because right now it only comes in the -1 power. And the axis options are limited as well. Okay, hopefully we'll see more axis options available in the future, but for now they went to what the majority of people out there have. They're usually more in the vertical or the horizontal meridian. All right. So the prices. Okay, here the 30 packs be the Max for Astigmatism or the Max Multifocal for Astigmatism. At delivercontacts.com, our price is $56.99 as of June. In July of 2025. If you want the best prices with free delivery, go to delivercontacts.com. Again, I'm sure we're going to blow everybody's prices away. So make sure you come, well, to my site, to delivercontacts.com. What's my bottom line for the Oasys MAX for Astigmatism and the Oasys MAX Multifocal for Astigmatism? I kind of already said this, that the Max have proven to be my favorite contact lenses out there. The Pupil optimized design has proven to be my favorite type of multifocal out there. The blink stabilized design has proven to be my favorite design for astigmatism contact lenses out there. The Max has it all, okay? The most comfort, the most stable, the best design for multifocals, okay? It's got it all. Yeah, it does cost more than other contact lenses, but if you want the best that's out there, if you want the contact lens that's the most comfortable, that's the most stable, and gives you the highest quality optics in a contact lens for astigmatism in one day and the most breathable, then the Oasys, any of the family of the Oasys MAX are great contact lenses if it comes to whatever your power, whatever your type of contact lens is, okay? But again, hey, for you people that have astigmatism, it's here. Congratulations. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in another Your Eye Show.